credit unions have totally different regulatory authority. Remember, well, some banks aren't either, but credit unions are not publicly traded, number one. So that's a good thing. And credit unions are owned by the members. They're nonprofits. So most credit unions, I think there is one or two that may be for profit, but credit unions are owned by the members. So it's a totally different animal than a bank. And the regulatory, we talk about regulatory burden, and regulatory burden on a bank is far, far greater. I know because I used to live under that regulatory burden because I owned a trust company, which is regulated by the same people that regulate a bank. The regulatory burden is very, very different. But also, because they're publicly traded, the government can use that as we have to be looking out for the good of the people. A credit union is about the good of the owners, not the people. Because if you have a CD there, you are an owner. You are an owner of the credit union. And it's a nonprofit. And it's not publicly traded. So it's a very different situation. So would they be obligated? I believe that any financial kind of institution whatsoever, or even a private company, I suspect could be ordered by the government to do something. We are seeing very much a dictatorial kind of government start to take place already here. The reason why they can't win the case of ordering, when they ordered by executive order private companies to demand vaccines by all their employees, they can't do that. The way our Constitution and the way our government is, that's an overstep of government boundaries. So they would be hard-pressed to order a private entity, let alone a non-profit private entity that is owned by the shareholders of by the depositors of the organization. So I think it would be extremely unlikely, but I would never say never, because I've already seen things in the last 7 months that I would have said never. So, but it is highly unlikely and far more difficult for that kind of overreach by the government for a credit union. They can do whatever they want with a publicly traded company. It's a different animal, but they can't. It'd be very difficult to do with a private entity, and it'd be even more difficult to do with a nonprofit private financial group that is owned by the people that are invested in it.
Okay, so it's much better to have a Christian Community credit card than have a Bank of America credit card.
Well, to say the least, that's an understatement. But yes, it is way, way better for a whole lot of other reasons as well. That is for sure. Hey, remember to click the subscribe button right here on the screen. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when new content is added. And more importantly than anything, you don't want to miss all 3 live hours of Financial Issues every day from 9 to noon. And you can watch it on FISM.tv. That's FISM.tv.